Are you looking for a 2023 real estate business plan that's free, easy to use, and downloadable?
Well, we've got you covered at WBNL Coaching, and we're going to talk about it today on the Wandering But Not Lost podcast.
This is the Wandering But Not Lost WBNL podcast, where real estate and reality meet. And now your hosts, Jan O'Brien and Matt Emerson.
Well, welcome to the WBNL Wandering But Not Lost podcast, where real estate and reality meet. This is episode 215, and today we're going to talk about business planning. It's that time of year.
It is that time of the year, and I always do say that I like October as business planning. We're doing it ourselves. We're going in and digging into the writing of the goals and how did we do and where do we want to go next year, and it can be confusing. So that's why we love sharing our very easy to use business plan. And we are going to talk about that today and give you the 3 steps to creating a very powerful business plan and show you how you can go get all of our tutorials and in all of our templates that we're going to cover in today's show.
And you know what? Year by year, when we go back to this, I always think, gosh, what are we going to have to improve? Nothing, because it really is turnkey. It's really
That's
awesome.
right.
You know,
and the other
really tweaks, but oh my gosh, it's
the other thing is it's so comprehensive that you could just, if you're really into the nuts and bolts of digging in and doing a true business plan where you're going to break it down by how many appointments and this and that, we've got you covered on that. But also, if you want to just use the parts of this business plan we're going to go through that work for you, because here's the thing, Matt, right? I don't have to tell Matt this. Matt doesn't like to do all of these things as much. He's very go with the flow. Not that he doesn't create goals and all of that, but I think there's something for everyone, because it can be you can keep it simple, or you can get really into the details and leverage all the 8 tabs that are in this spreadsheet. It's up to you, but the point is it's free. And we're going to talk about it today, and then you're going to have access to our training program where Matt and I walk through every single one of these templates we're going to share with you today, how to use them, how to customize them for you.
Yep. Let's jump in.
Let's do it. So yes, 2023 is upon us. So we talked in a previously about how finish the year strong. Check out our last episode. Matt will have it linked in the show notes there for you, where we did talk about what you do now for finishing the year is going to set you up for a great 2023. But today it's all about actually carving some time out right now. Don't wait till the last minute at the end of the year and really start. Maybe it's going to take you a couple hours over a couple weeks to do these different steps. So that's what we want to cover today. Inspire you to make the commitment to take these 3 steps so that you have an amazing 2023, because we are in a challenging market, everybody, as you well know. It's shifted. We've gone from, things selling in 2 minutes, and there's frustrations in every market. In previous years, we were frustrated if you were working with buyers because you loved it if you're working with sellers, but buyers, you couldn't find them a property. Now you got buyers and there's plenty of properties to choose from, and you have frustrations working with sellers. So we're going to talk about those specifics in another episode. So today it's all about the mechanics of the business plan. So step 1, you have to look back to move forward. And by that, we simply mean do a true review of your business for 2022. And we have a tool for that. It's called Review Your Business.
Wow.
And the template is literally a place for you to put in your numbers. It'll do a little calculating for you, like what percentage of your business, what's your average sales price, as long as you go gather the data that you need, which is all of your all of your closings. And you just need basic information, which we're going to tell you if you use our business plan. We have the final tab in our business plan is literally the document to track your business. And if you track your business in a spreadsheet format at any given time, you know exactly where you stand on how many listings you have, how many sales, where did your business come from, what's your average sales price, what's your average list to sales price ratio. Those are all the things that you want to take a look at. And you mainly want to look at, where did your business come from? And there's this place on this template to list, where did you get these transactions? Did it come from your sphere of influence or referral, or did you get a sign call, or did you get a lead off of a social media site, or what happened? That's what you need to know so that you can analyze what worked, what didn't work. You certainly don't want to repeat the same mistakes that you might have made this year, or maybe you invested in money that's not really working. So maybe you either need to tweak what you're doing, or I don't know if you're going to double down on some ideas, or you're going to abandon some ideas and go to some fresh ideas. but you can't do that unless you look back.
Yeah, and if a lot of people will probably be surprised about what their year really looked like if you're really going back here and doing this correctly, right? Because you might have focused or might have been thinking you were focusing on areas that you probably shouldn't have been focusing on, right? So it's a really good exercise, and it sets you up beautifully to actually complete your plan.
And the last part is, did you really literally, did you hit your goals? Did you fall short? And just give yourself a little reflection on why, so that you can get ready to the next step, which is to actually work on your goals for 2023. So know your SMART goals. And we use the acronym SMART so that we have an amazing worksheet for you for this, but SMART simply means specific and simple, measurable and meaningful to you. A stands for attainable, as if now, meaning you write them in the present tense, affirmative. I would add another A, affirmative, in there. And then they're in all areas of your life. That A has got a lot in it. And it's probably the most important part. I think if you write it as if now, all areas of your life and attainable for you, it's important. And R has to be realistic and responsible for you. And T is time frame and toward what you want. So you do not write goals that are, I'm going to quit smoking, right? You write it a different way. You don't use knots or negatives or even losing weight. It's a toward what you want. Write it in the positive present tense affirmative as if you've already accomplished it. So that's what I mean by toward, not away. And it's clear and concise and in all areas of your life, which of course means business, financial can be things like paying off debt or saving money,
right?
Saving for a rainy day. It's going to be personal goals, personally for you on health, and maybe you're going to work on a class or something else to develop yourself personally. You're going to work on whatever else is important to you when it comes to family and relationships. It's spiritual for you. What is the areas that make up your whole life? You just don't do business, right? So it's all that. And we do have an amazing workbook that we've put together over the years that ties in the best parts of writing goals, like Keystone Achievable Outcome Worksheet, which asks 9 questions. If you answer these questions for your big goals, will help you know if those are the right, if you've done it, if the goal is really covering SMART, not only SMART, but it means something to you.
Right.
So I love it. And then we've given you worksheets in this one workbook for just writing goals, a place to write out those goals using these SMART principles, but also a really good worksheet to take the bigger goals and break them down into smaller steps and action items so that you can understand that if your goal is to have 30 closings, okay, great. What are you going to do? Well, that really is the business plan. It's probably a bad example. So let's say you were going to work on putting your finally and forever, your sphere of influence client appreciation program 100% together this year.
Right.
Meaning we're going to do all the things you've been procrastinating. And that would be things like a monthly newsletter, other connections that you're going to make, the client parties you're going to have. That's what I mean by my client appreciation program is on autopilot by this date would be a goal. And then you're going to list all the things you need to do to make that happen. So it's
let's go back even more basic. Actually create your CRM, right?
And yes. And so I think that's great that you just, whatever works for you to write these things down. But this is the creative part. This is the, really sitting down and going, you already just looked at where you came from. How did you do? If you didn't focus on what you were needing to do, or you didn't have that discipline, that. So now it's, what do you want to do next year? Do you want to do the same? Do you want to stretch? What are the areas? And are you going to have some balance? What are you doing to get up and get out? Right. Matt and I talk about all the time.
That's right.
And I'm working on something right now so I can get up and get out and go do something with Matt and Laura and get away from business all day. That's on the goals for this year, finishing up.
It's funny because people that aren't really true business planners, and you had referenced it. I'm not someone that sits down and writes a huge plan, and I'm not into this 5 and 10 year goal thing. But I'm going to tell you something. If you sit down and have just a little, sit down with yourself, open your mind up and clear your mind, and start thinking about what you really want to achieve over the following year, or actually don't even put a time frame on it. Just say, what do you want to achieve? And travel is a good example of that. If there's a place you want to go, say you want to go to whatever, I don't know, a Mediterranean cruise. Let's just throw that one out there, and you're thinking to yourself, I don't know, that's going to be tough to do this year. Well, you know what? You've already created a long-term goal, right? So just by sitting there and starting to think about things like that, okay, maybe that's
Mm-hmm.
not going to happen in 2023. Maybe that'll be a 2025 thing, right? But now
Right.
you have it's on your list to do, and it doesn't have to be now. Don't get so caught up into like, oh my
Yeah.
God, I got to get all this done. No, this is long term, and it's fluid, and it's going to change. It's just your aspirations. So goal setting can be a lot of fun.
It's a great point you're making, and that to me, some people might call that a bucket list,
Yeah.
and I've done that, and it's powerful when you do list out things without, things that are on that list of things to do, the bucket list, places to go, things you might want to do. You want to learn something, you want to take up a study, or you want to try an experience that you haven't had, then there's power in writing it down, because sometimes things can line up and all of a sudden
And
you are doing skydiving or whatever you want to do.
And getting back to financial stuff, there is a lot of people in their mind when they're growing up, they have a number in their head that they want to reach when they get older. I'm going to make X amount of dollars, right? And, it's whatever, it's $1 million or whatever it is. If that's not obtainable this year, that is okay, because you're on your step, like Jan said, you're moving towards your goals. So if you're, it's baby steps, so
couple last things on goals when you're thinking about goals. And then of course the rest of what we're going to talk about is how to set the specific goals for your real estate business. But it is important to measure and track on those type of things when we talk about business goals and so forth, or maybe some personal goals that you're going to do and get up and work out or whatever. There's some power in having some, discipline around that and some accountability. And the last thing I want to say, it's important. We're driven. Most people who are in sales that do well are driven personalities, and they have a tendency to not stop and smell the roses or stop and celebrate the successes, I like to say, along the way, because it's always on to the next achievement, the next milestone. So remember to do that. And that's what treasure is maybe meant to be. Treasure your successes. But what I was going to say is track and measure along the way, so that you can stop and go, wow, I really did do a lot this year. And I want to encourage you to do that. So if you're feeling like, wow, I got nowhere near where I wanted to accomplish in 2022 for this reason and that reason, do that exercise about what have you really accomplished, and you'll find that you did more than you thought you did, that you're giving yourself credit for, because maybe you didn't hit this goal over here. So a little bit more of exactly what you were just saying there, Matt. So we have review your year, look back to move forward, know what your goals are and write them down using SMART acronym. And finally, create your business action plan. And this is where WBNL coaching comes in. Well, obviously we're going to help you with the templates that we've already talked about in 1 and 2, but the major auto-calculating spreadsheet that we have refined over the years and we still use and is still available is completely free for you to download. And there are 5 steps that are within this business plan for the spreadsheet itself. And I think, is it down to how many tabs is it?
There's 6 tabs altogether. Our last tab.
Oh, because tracking is the last tab.
Yeah.
Okay, that's exactly right. So you can download those and get the template. But I want to walk through a little bit about what these steps are. But when I say it's auto-calculating, it's simply designed so that you do the work, like how much money you want to make, right? And I'll talk about that in a second, because I don't like people just picking a number out of the air, which is generally $100,000 for new people. And we're looking at this step 6.2 here. I mentioned it a moment ago. I love our step 6 tracking sheet, because when you use that, it has a way to track your active inventory, your listings. When your listings turn to solds, they actually turn to a different color. It's automatic. And then your sales, your buyer represented sales go in there. And if you just enter the data as you do it, at the end of the year, you'll easily be able to do the first step, which is review your business, because it will give you all your numbers for you. For those of you that are not tracking your numbers, you're going to have to this year sit down. And I recommend using our step 6 to go do 2022. You could just grab a copy of that spreadsheet out of that tab, if you will, and copy it and go in and list all of it. You need that information. I have that for the last couple of years. It's awesome to go back and look and see where we've come. What's our average sales prices? It'll do all the calculations for you. What's your gross commission income? What are the expenses that you paid out of your commission? Did you pay referrals? It gives you all of your listing volume and your sales volume and where your business came from. So I love it. So now, before you pick a magic number out of the air, I want to encourage you, and I really want to say, if you want the number to mean something, that you use 5 areas, and it takes a little work on a couple of these, to then come up with the number that you want to earn in 2023. And it starts with your business expenses. Well, we have one of the downloads in our business planning course is a business worksheet, expense worksheet, that will allow you to estimate your business expenses, or how about you actually go figure out what your expenses are for this year? I know I need to do that. And then number 1. Number 2, your personal expenses. So that's your living and your household, separate from your business expenses. What does it cost you to live, from rent or mortgage to payments, car payments, credit card payments, food? And obviously that's been higher recently, right? Now, the key to you, if you're listening as a real estate professional, is and you have to, if your only source of income is real estate, then 100% of your living and household expenses has to come from your real estate income. So what I want you to do here is, your business expenses are clearly your business. Those are your write-offs, but those are expenses, because we're going to deduct all of this from what you want to earn to come up with a number. That's where we're going with this. So the living and household expenses, if you have another source of income or someone else that's helping pay for that, what percentage, so you figure out your entire annual living expenses, what percentage do you want your real estate income to cover? Is that 25? Is that 30? Is it 50? Get that number, and you're going to put that number into a spot in the spreadsheet, because this is an annual thing that we're doing here. Annual business expenses, annual household expenses. Now we're going to put in your desired profit. How much money do you want to make? How much profit? It's so funny, Matt, how people will go, you make just enough money to cover your expenses and maybe take a trip or something, but you don't really have profit in your business.
Right.
All right. So that's number 3. Number 4 would be, what do you want do you want to have a savings goal this year? Do you want to put 10 grand in retirement income, or are you planning a trip? Where did you say, a world trip? Where was Matt going? I don't know. He was planning a trip a minute ago.
Mediterranean cruise.
So he needs 10 grand to set aside for that, or maybe 12 grand now. I don't know. Whatever that is per person.
Maybe 25, because we like to go first class.
All right. But in 2 of you. So, all right. So then it's what money goes. So set aside the annual goal for, we're going to call it fun, retirement, savings. Then you've got to put in some number. Now you're starting to see some numbers. You've got to estimate some taxes. So even at this point, if you were to add those numbers up and just kind of do a rough estimate, even if you just use 25, you know what your tax bracket is, but you haven't deducted the expenses and so forth, but use 25%, put a number in there, because now when we add up business expenses, portion or all of household expenses, profit that you want to earn, dollar amount, money you want to put for savings, retirement, and fun, and taxes, we get a subtotal. And actually the way we do it, it subtotals
before, so you can actually do your taxes.
I forgot we did that.
Yeah.
I'm just looking. We subtotal the first 4, and then you can put a 25 to 30% tax payment in there. Now you can come up with, in our example I'm looking at, it's $187,500. Well, that means something because of that example's expenses, profit, retirement and fun, and tax payments.
Which is really powerful, Jan, because going back to what you just said a little bit ago, if you have that number of $100,000 in your mind, you have an $80,000 deficit off the bat if you just think you want to make $100,000.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's really powerful to go through this whole process. And I'll tell you, the hardest one on here is what your desired profit is. And you might go back and change that. It's okay. You can go to step 4 and then go up number 3 and change it again. You can play around with this and massage these to where it's going to work the best for you.
To your point, what we're going to talk about next, if you're like, wow, I don't know if I really want to have to do that many deals, or I want to do more, then you can come back, and how you make this spreadsheet work for you is you change the profitability. Because if you're really being honest about expenses and savings and all that, the profitability is what's going to change from making 200,000 to 187. All things considered, the expenses might go up slightly, but
the first spreadsheet here, step 1, powers pretty much the whole spreadsheet. So yeah, absolutely.
All right. And so then the part of creating your business action plan after you calculate your closing goals. So really what happens next is that there is that information about how much money you want to make goes over to your closing goal. The next tab actually is the closing goals. I don't know if we have that up here.
Yeah, we're talking about it next. So you have that at the end. So there's other things associated with that.
Yeah, well, it's like this would come after closing goals, though. So figuring out how many, we have a couple spreadsheets that help you figure out how many prospects you need, how many contacts you need, and if you want to get into that minutia, we can go down there, and we're using statistics that are in the real estate industry to say that you have to knock on 100 doors to get one appointment. So we have spreadsheets to help you how many contacts and stuff that you need to do. But what you would end up doing first really is the closing goals. So you have closing goals that you 187,500 in my example. Do we have that, Matt, or no? Yeah. So anyway, I did it backwards. So it's like you have to have first closing goals, then you're going to figure out how many appointments you have to hit those goals. But this is the meat and potatoes of the spreadsheet. Okay, this part here, because some people actually just only like this part, Matt. This is a simple.
Yep.
I'm going to encourage you to go do the work on knowing really how much money you want to make, because it's based on those 5 areas. And then when you have that number, now you can say what percentage of your business comes from listings versus sales, and all you have to do is put in your average sales price and your commission split. Enter any fees that come out of your commission, and then the spreadsheet does the calculating for you to tell you if you're going to make 187,500 next year, and your average sales price is 390, for example, and 80% of it is coming from listings, you've got to do 1,700. That would make you very rich.
Yes,
17
really
listings. You've got to have 17 listings that you put under contract or you list, because not everybody, and especially right now, you might need 17 listings to have 15 close. And it has a calculation in there for what percent of your listings close, because we're in a market where, yes, listings are going to expire. People are not maybe going to bring their prices down, or they're going to withdraw and they're going to change their mind. So all of that is built into this one tab called the real estate closing goals.
Yeah.
And same thing on the sales side. Then it can take you into what do you need to go do, and then finally it literally lets you track and measure your results. Okay, right. So very easy. We have reduced this and made it simpler over the years. We have stuff that you can get from us that's on how to do marketing, create a marketing budget, and we decided to take that out of here. We don't have that in our business plan. In previous versions, we did have it in there, right, Matt? The breaking down the marketing, because it's like its own little animal now.
Yeah, it's not. It's in the course though. It's we have a spreadsheet for that, so
all right.
It covers all of that. Your personal expenses, your business expenses. All of the background work. There's.
Well, and it goes with the next part, which we're going to do in a future episode, which is now that you know what your numbers are, you know how much money you want to make. You converted that into the number of listings and sales you need on a monthly basis. The key to everything is, what are you going to do to get there? So we're going to save that for our next episode, and we will definitely get into everyone works with their sphere of influence. So we're going to give you our best nuggets on that. What do you do to stay in touch and get more referrals and past client referrals and repeat business? And then how do you choose the other things that you're going to go work on? Okay. Another episode, another day.
Absolutely.
So how do they get it, Matt? How do they get our amazing templates and free training?
Yeah, there really is a lot of information in this free course. It's over on WBNLcoaching.com. Just go to our freebies page and download or sign up for the Agent Fundamentals and Business Plan course. This is a 16-lesson course that goes through all the fundamentals of business. You're building your business from, getting your database together, you're choosing a CRM, all of that part of it. There are several sections on the business plan and with tutorials that go through all these spreadsheets. So here's the deal. You're seeing a lot of Excel spreadsheets up here, and I know probably 95% of the people on earth do not like Excel or hate Excel or don't know how to use Excel. Don't worry about that. You don't have to know how to use it. We're going to walk you through it. Pretty much does the job for you. You just have to be thinking about your numbers, and once you get your numbers in there, the Excel spreadsheet does the rest of it for you. So don't be intimidated by the Excel. And you're going to have the video that accompanies this, so you can go back and watch that video over and over and over again if you want to. So you always have that as your backup as you're building your plan. So I don't even know how many downloads there are in this particular course. There's just a slew of downloads. So there's a slew, a plethora.
A plethora. Thank you. I knew you'd fit that in.
You're very welcome. So yeah, there is a ton of great stuff that is going to get you set up and actually walk you through how to do a plan. Now, like we've been talking about all along, this is not just the random run-of-the-mill business plan. This is this is a deep dive. This is in depth into putting a plan together that's going to make a lot of sense for you, not only in your business, but if you're thinking about everything else in your life, which I'm telling you right now, if you're building a plan that's just around your business and not around everything else, you're going to fail, because that's not what life is all about, right? There is a lot of stuff that goes on in your life, and you need to make sure that you're planning for all of that stuff. Me, I always tend to plan, I already went on about the cruise thing, even though that's not really a goal of mine, even though I would like to do that maybe. But, I tend to focus on that kind of stuff because that's what motivates me to actually work. So it's a full-blown course. It's all located over there at wbnlcoaching.com in our freebies area. Let me get this off here for a second. In our freebies area, and absolutely free for that, and you will be on your way. And as Jan said, we're going to be giving you more tips and tricks on business planning over the coming weeks. So
yeah, and there's more than the business plan in there. It is a module it's the first module, I think, in our real estate sales builder program.
It is.
And it includes all of our best content on the fundamentals of what it takes to be an amazing real estate agent. So you'll get that along with all the business training.
Yeah. So go download Agent Fundamentals, check out that entire course, which is really in depth. And then if you really want to go in and streamline and build a stronger foundation for the rest of your real estate business and give yourself a path to actually an exit strategy, you can purchase our Real Estate Sales Builder program, which is one of our signature programs for individual agents that really helps you get your act together. And that's located over our site as well, wbnlcoaching.com. That's on our courses page. There is a cost to that course. But we are pretty confident if once you go through our Agent Fundamentals course that you'll understand that we mean business with our courses. We're boots on the ground and real life information that can help you thrive in your business today.
Are we offering a special discount perhaps on our Sales Builder program or no? Do we have that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we can do that, Jan O'Brien. We talked about it a little bit last week. Yeah. Now, between the end of the year, we're going to offer you $200 off, which is practically getting the program for free. It goes from $397 down to $197. So all you have to do is just use code BP and 222. That's what it is. The code 222. I'll put the link in the show notes down below.
Well, and this is just if you're listening to us right now.
We're not advertising this anywhere else.
We haven't advertised it. This is just for our listeners. Or if you come across this video on YouTube, then you can get a discount on our signature fundamental program. But at the very minimum, go get the business planning, and you'll see that you'll probably want the rest of it.
That's right.
Okay, there it is.
There you go. So there you go. Good information today. Love it. So, for our show notes, go over to wbnlpodcast.com, or you can go to our website too. This is episode 215, and just get up, get out, have a great week. Go, sit down and reflect, because that's what this is all about. Take a little time to get into your head, figure out what the heck you did in 2022 and where you want to be in 2023, and make it a great day, people. Be forever wandering, but not lost.
What he said.